Welcome back. It's Friday. Just want to touch base, quick update on the YieldMax ETFs, which I'm sure everybody's probably aware of that follows them closely, but just to dive into some of the details. I guess first, they do get these new YieldMax Target 12 ETFs that will be coming. YieldMax Target, or sorry, I didn't mean to say that. They got a YieldMax Target 25. This is not written here, but they'll be basically going to focus on single equity and payout aimed at distribution of, I believe, 25%, but they will charge a pretty high. Here we go. Got the actual spreadsheet here that I meant to reference, but they got the YieldMax Target 25 funds based on AI, AMD, MZN, basically some of the single pairs. They're going to target 25%. And then I assume they're going to hit the 25% on a monthly basis, which I think it was just over 2% a month. And then anything over that, I think they won't pay, keep it in the ETF. Therefore, if the ETF goes up beyond that, you will have NAV appreciation. If it doesn't, you have NAV erosion. Makes sense. Rather than paying out a distribution, I guess every week now, that's the secondary news. It's going to a weekly, but they're gonna target the just over 2% a month. I think it's there we go. So they're gonna pay a target of approximately 2.2% a month, and target that annual distribution of 25%. Overall, it makes sense. The only thing I don't like is, so right here we got the management fee 0.99%. Then we got the other expenses 1.68%. So total fund operating expense annually of 1.67%. Seems quite high. Overall, I'd probably avoid these funds and just focus on a smaller management fee. I think 1% is pretty good. I would just stick with the common single stock exposure ETF or explore one of the other options. But we'll see. I don't know. We'll see how fast those grows. But that's the first news. The secondary news, the YieldMax ETFs are going to weekly. Some of them already are weekly, but they're going to weekly starting for group. They got basically group 1 and group 2. Group 1 is some of their ETFs or non-single stock focus. So you got YMAX, YMAG, FEET, ULTI, SOLTI, LFGY, CHIPPY, GPTY. There's 0 DTE ones, QDTY, SDTY, and RDTY. So those starting Tuesday, October 14th, they will declare distribution. And then Wednesday, they'll go ex-dividend, and payments will actually be Thursday. So if you own these, you can get paid Thursday. And then if you own the single stock exposure ones down here, you can get paid Friday. But these will once again declare Wednesday, go ex-dividend on Thursday, then pay on Friday. Ex-dividend, of course, is when the owners actually are entitled to the payment. And then it's usually when the stock price drops, reflecting the dividend payment. But overall, you got the group 1 here and group 2, all the single stock ones. I don't mean to highlight all those. Columns 2 through 5, group 2, they'll be paid on Friday. Group 1 will be paid on Thursday. And then their target 12 ETFs that target that 12% distribution, those will remain monthly and will be declared on the first of Tuesday alongside group 1. So that'll be interesting. That'll add a lot of, I imagine they're probably doing this in response to maybe Roundhill, which does the kind of the single or the weekly pairs on the single stocks. That's my guess, but that's going to make stuff a lot more active, I guess, every week, or a lot more stuff to watch, a lot of different payouts and distributions accordingly. But so I suppose in response to that, I did change up my website a little bit here, which I put a link if you'd like to follow it at all. But I'll be making other changes. Like I said, I usually just focused on the single stock exposure. I did have a filter over here for group A, B, and C. I took that out clearly because there's not going to be a group A, B, and C, and D anymore. And now you can filter it based on, if you want to look at just the ETFs that paid 4% or better for the month, you can adjust that filter accordingly. If you want to move it up to 5%, if you're really focused on finding the YieldMax ETFs with the greatest percent payout for the month, at least recently, that's a good way to do it. You don't really need the filter. Maybe I'll add another filter. I just threw one in there to see what it would look like, and that's what I got right now. But in addition to that, I took out the group A, B, and C here on the left-hand menu, and I did add in the weekly pairs. The way I titled it, this is group 1. This will be weekly Thursday pairs, and then group 2 is weekly Friday pairs. So if you go to Thursday, I'm starting to add these in here. I do have ULTI, FEET, LFGY, YMAX, YMAG, CHIPPY, and GPTY. ULTI, of course, I got the standard performance metrics. And then I also have ULTI, the in-depth. Maybe I'll add the in-depth to a different tab or maybe I'll just keep it here, keep it included, keep it consolidated. But ULTI down a little bit today, but I guess my in-depth, it shows, as I've noted in a previous video, I intend to cover going forward. And it includes all the stocks that are contained in the ETF. And it includes clearly cash status. And then really a lot of other metrics here that you can dive into. Maybe I'll make another video focus on that specifically, just to break that out in depth. Then for the other ones like FEET and FIVI, And maybe I'll go to LFGY and focus on that one. Or not FIVI, I guess I will focus on FIVI. But so all these should be the same. I may add in-depth going forward, but right now I just got the performance metrics. So like FIVI, for example, you can see like on a comparison basis, really reinvest your dividends and not reinvest your dividends. Reinvesting is only slightly better. And overall, this fund is almost flat since its inception on a total return basis. Which I basically right now, I just got the performance metrics in here. It shows the ETF price, for example, right now, as well as the cumulative distribution, for example, and then distribution history. Most of them, I got the average. I'll have to add the average. But if I go to YieldMax has been around, for example, for a while. So I did, of course, got that in here. You can see from a comparison basis on YieldMax, this assumes a $2,000 starting investment. So you can see the non-reinvested, you took $2,000 up to $2,670, and reinvest your dividends over $3,000, so over a 50% total return since inception day, which YieldMax been around for a while since we're talking back in early of 2024. But yeah, YieldMax, a good performer. Here on a non-reinvested dividend, you can see how it's grown. So many dividends that I guess we got these little bars here. I'll try to think about, I don't know if those are helpful or not. Maybe I'll put in a filter so you can take out some of the dates if you want to take those bars out. But it started at 20 and it's only at 12.98, or I guess 12.55 at the moment. Taking a pretty good decline with the added tariff news on China. This will update, of course, next time I run it. But I paid a cumulative distribution of $13.73 since inception. So on a reinvested basis, you're over a 50% return. This, of course, is a non-reinvested assumption. And then I don't know if it makes sense to make this. I like this chart on a non-reinvestment basis because it just shows if you would have bought a share at 20, currently you'd have a share at just under 13 and the cumulative distribution of 13.73. And then you can do them on the compare side over here. I kind of do all that math for you in case you wanted to assume a reinvested dividend approach. And there's plenty of websites to do that for you if you want to see what the total return would be on a non-reinvested basis or a reinvested basis. But I'll add all the weekly Thursday options in here and maybe make a summary table as well. And then on a weekly Friday, I do have basically all of these single stock exposure ETFs. And I'll probably add in actually some of the short ones as well, which I haven't covered in the past, but I'll just add those in there from a performance basis. I have updated the ticker, so it should include everything, but some of the other items I need to, of course, update. But that's the update for YieldMax. They are going to weekly. We'll see how that goes forward, but yeah, just a quick update.